Some news concerning LSU's DC and OC going back to Ole Miss, as well as Zion Williamson. It may be time to finally give up on him. We're talking about that and so much more today on the Louisiana Lunch Hour podcast. And welcome everyone to a brand new edition of the Louisiana Lunch Hour podcast. Appreciate you listening in as always. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us today wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Go ahead and check us out. And we got a lot to get to, namely what's going on with Blake Baker as well as the new LSU offensive coordinator. We're going to start off with Blake Baker, the latest with him. He's received strong interest from the University of Tulane, justifiably so, and there's a ton of interest in the job with this program. And I think that is a big reason why Tulane needs to nail this hire, because just based off of what we've seen over the last, handful of seasons, Tulane was not necessarily all that great, I'd say, pre-COVID, right? Willie Fritz helped bring this program back from the dead, in a sense. They were always halfway decent, but this is the first time in a long time we are genuinely talking about a phenomenal team over in Williamson Stadium at Tulane, and the vibes there are immaculate. What they've been able to do and evolve this team is nothing short of impressive. And honestly, when you think about it, there's tons of interest because I think there are some coaches out there that are seeing this as a launching pad to bigger horizons. Again, I brought up Willie Fritz. He was a coach for years in the Sun Belt Conference, jumped over to Tulane. Next thing you know, he's leading the University of Houston. He's got that program kind of purring a little bit better, 9-3 after a 4-8 season his first year as the head honcho over there, but he also spent some time at Georgia Southern. But I think everybody talks about what he did, especially the last two seasons, going 12-2 and 11-2 in the American, one of the strongest conferences in all of the, all of the group of 5 teams. Jumps over, obviously John Sumrall takes over that program, and now he's over the University of Florida within only a couple of years. It's nothing short of impressive to see what this program has been able to do in just a short period of time. They came up short a while back against Army back in 2024, but they have a chance to win this championship game against North Texas, and more importantly, seal the deal when it comes to a college football playoff berth, because as of right now, with the latest college football playoff poll, they are still the highest ranked group of 5 team. That alone is enough to kind of say, hey, this is great. And also, it's going to look good for these potential head coaches, because look at what we've been able to do the last few years. Since the 2020s, we've been a damn good program. We've turned this thing around. You do this, you keep building. Within a couple of years, you could be making a move to the SEC. And, it's a launching pad for coaches, akin to what we saw, I'd say, about 10, 15 years ago with Arkansas State as well as Appalachian State. After App State made the jump from the FCS to the FBS, you saw a lot of head coaches be there for a couple of years, make their hay, and then make the jump over to the Power 5 conference teams. Like, for instance, Eli Drinkwitz, a guy that was at least in consideration and in conversation to be the next head coach for LSU if the Lane train got derailed in any form or fashion. But one name that did get brought up on social media from Fletcher Mackel that I think we need to have a serious conversation about, because again, we keep talking about Ed Orgeron joining LSU again. a lot of people have been clamoring for it, and they have the attention span of a rodent or the short-term memory of 10-second Tom from 50 First Dates. It's not great. Like, if you bring him back, I think you have a major malfunction at the end of the day. Now, Tulane, with all the goodwill they've been building over the last couple of seasons, would they be willing to risk that in hiring Ed Ogeron, who has not coached since the 2021 season? That'd be 5 years removed. Don't get me wrong. Coach O, one hell of a recruiter. I'm sure he would delegate, direct this team, but I'm not necessarily sure you go that route. It just doesn't feel that way, at least to me. I think there is an opportunity somewhere out there. And I'm telling you, there's somebody out there that I think some teams need to keep an eye on. And you know what? I think it may seem like a downgrade for one person in particular, but I feel like there's a chance that if given the opportunity, he could do a great job with what he did just a few years ago. And of course, I'm talking about Billy Napier. I think Billy Napier could be a good pickup for Tulane as a head coach if Blake Baker says, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and make the decision to stick around at LSU long term. At the end of the day, they have to keep their options open if they are a program that wants to stay in the position they are, because right now they are in a very good spot to be that new hotness. And it's interesting because you look at the last 3 head coaching hires for the Florida Gators, they went with the new hotness. Dan Mullen, he turned a unsexy Mississippi State program into a legitimate good team. That alone should be commended. Obviously, the good vibes didn't last long. Billy Napier, the new hotness. He came from the Alabama Nick Saban coaching tree. He did a great job with the Raging Cajuns. Led them to some of the best records in program history. Made them nationally ranked. Beat Iowa State on the road. Mind you, it was during COVID. No fans allowed. But still, that's something to be proud of if you are a head coach in college football. I definitely think that he should be one in consideration, probably a little bit more than Coach O. I understand, not necessarily a great run for Billy Napier in the SEC as the head coach of the Florida Gators, but I think he could do pretty well over in the American. But we'll keep it going on the conversation when it comes to LSU, but this time going over the offensive side of the football, because the offensive coordinator that got announced as joining the program in Charlie Wise Jr., he's going to be making the move to Ole Miss for the college football playoff. And this was something that Lane Kiffin signed off on. It's a weird decision on paper, but we talked about it on the pod yesterday about the decision to join at LSU and the contract details. Lane Kiffin, if this team wins a national championship, he makes $1 million in bonuses. He makes money regardless if they get into the CFP at all. And I feel like they should. They absolutely should. And as of right now, they are going to be in there unless something completely, cattywampus goes on behind the scenes once we get to Sunday morning around 11 o'clock. It's going to be a great debate that we're going to be having for a hot minute. Just saying, we are going to have a lot of stuff to see. As of right now, Ole Miss is ranked 6th in the latest CFP rankings. And you have Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Texas Tech, and Oregon at the top 5. And Tulane, they've got pretty good odds. DraftKings has them at plus 115 at making the playoff. But again, they've just got to handle business against North Texas. But seeing that there is a very good chance that we are going to get, in one way or another, Ole Miss in the playoff. Again, there has to be some absolute cattywampus conspiracy theories going on for Ole Miss to miss out on this. Even with a head coach that's not a part of it, it's not fair. We talked about it a lot on yesterday's pod. It would be an absolute atrocity, to say the least. We got one more thing to get to, and it just feels like a broken record. I've talked about this back when I used to have my own show on a sports radio station in Lafayette, Louisiana. And it is Zion Williamson missing extended time. It feels like that meme from GTA San Andreas. Here we go again. His right adductor injury. He's going to miss extended time. And according to reports, they'll reevaluate in 3 weeks' time. Are we being for real now? Are we being serious? In Big 2025, Zion Williamson is injured again, and he's going to miss 3 weeks. And I've said this a lot over the last few months since doing this pod, especially since the season started, because it feels like every time we're like, oh, he looks healthy. But he does not stay healthy. Like, genuinely, it is frustrating. I'm not even the biggest Pelicans fan, but I feel the frustration that this fan base has. Because, you look at it. This is a season that just needs to be treated like an NBA 2K, my franchise. Just sim to the end of the season. Thankfully, you've got some bright sides. You got Fears and Derek Queen. They're getting it done. In fact, at the time of the recording, they're actually up against the T-Wolves 123-119 with about 4 minutes left. Again, we're taping this as the game is wrapping up. But this team is 3-18. I think this franchise needs to get back into rhythm. And it's going to start with getting rid of one player only, that's Zion Williamson. Figure out a way to trade him off, because it's just not working for you. If you are going to rebuild this team for what feels like the fifth time in the last 20 years, it's time to get rid of Zion. He's been a good player back in the day as the head coach. I mean, as the number one draft pick from the jump, everybody was saying he was a generational talent. I think at the end of the day, you are going to have a big problem keeping interest if he continues to get injured and not play more than half of the season. The fan apathy, I feel like to a certain extent, there's a diehard fan base that is into Pelicans basketball, but you have to rebuild and you have to kind of burn it down when it comes right down to it. Like, seriously, you have to burn it down and rely on those young bucks to get you to where you need to be. That'll about do it for today's edition of the Louisiana Lunch Hour podcast. Appreciate you listening in. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to us today. Seriously, it's just that simple. Just push the button to follow, subscribe on social media, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. And we'll talk to you next time here on the Louisiana Lunch Hour podcast.